You're listening to Mad Scientist Radio. Hello again, I'm Ian.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome to the show. And today we're going to be talking about common SEO terms. So search engine optimization obviously has an entire vernacular, really, a language of its own. So let's kind of go through some of those familiar and unfamiliar terms.
It certainly does. There's so many, but some of the more basic ones that we get asked a lot about is, SEO obviously stands for search engine optimization. SEM stands for search engine marketing. Difference between the two is, with search engine marketing, you're talking more things like AdWords, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, other forms of advertising on other forums such as Amazon, eBay, all these sort of things. Then there's one that most people wouldn't even have the foggiest about what it is. It's called SERP. What that stands for is Search Engine Results Page. So basically, if you do a search in Google, it's that page that comes up. That is called a SERP.
The listings that you get on that
Yes.
on that search. The SERP is the sort of the little excerpt you get. Is that right? Under the
No, it's just a whole page.
Oh, the whole page is
The
the
whole
SERP.
page, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it's important for people to kind of the distinction there.
Yeah.
And then obviously AdWords is another one that.
AdWords is another one. People think, what on earth is AdWords? AdWords is simply Google's online advertising service. So what an AdWord is when you bring up your results page, at the very top of it, on the right-hand side and down the bottom, you'll have these results, but they're usually highlighted in a very sort of a light yellow. Those are AdWords. They're just ads that people have placed and bidded on, and the more money you actually bid per click. So what that means is that if you're setting up your AdWords account and you say, okay, I'm willing to bid $1 for every time somebody clicks that, Google works it out and then it ranks you. So the person who has bid the most money for that keyword will be number one, and then the second one will be number 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Well, so that sounds like an interesting one. So for the highly competitive ones, what you're talking about hundreds of dollars per click, are you?
It can be. I've seen ones that range from 2 cents per click right up to over $100 per click, and all that depends on how competitive that keyword is.
Okay, that sounds like a future episode of its own.
Absolutely.
So what other terms are there?
Then related to AdWords or online advertising, PPC simply stands for pay-per-click. So what that means is that's the amount of money that you pay for every time somebody clicks on your ad. Cost per click. It's basically the same thing as PPC, pay-per-click.
Okay, so just a slightly different terminology there.
Yes. Then there's CTR, which stands for click-through rate. What that means is it's the amount of clicks a keyword gets in percentage terms. So, for example, your ad is seen 1,000 times. The amount of clicks that your ad got is 100. So your CTR, or click-through rate, is 10%.
Okay, even my poor mathematical skills can work that one. So that's good. What about, we've covered this previously, but what about Google Index? What are we talking about there?
Okay, the Google Index is simply a database of things like videos, web pages, documents, images, and so on. Everything to do with, say, your particular website. So it's the way Google categorizes your website.
Okay, and then we've got a number of other Google terms, I suppose, that are part of the vernacular too.
Yes. One of the more common ones people ask is, what is Google Analytics? Never heard of it. Google Analytics is simply a Google program that anybody can actually get on their website. It's free. What Analytics does, it measures every activity on your website, like how many visitors you've got, on what day, where they came from, what country, what city, how many keywords your site is being found by, what is the CTR, or the click-through rate of your website, what pages are popular, what pages are not, what pages people leave your website from, what pages people enter your website from.
There's a lot of information there.
There is a lot, but it is very, very helpful for people to know exactly who's visiting the website, and if not, why not, and where are they leaving, what page isn't working well, what page is doing really well, what page can I optimize more, and so on.
I also find it very interesting that it shows you the journey that people take through the website. So I think that's a pretty interesting bit of information to have, to see sort of how people travel through the website and where they drop off.
Yes.
That's kind of an interesting thing to look at too. So of the Google tools, there's one really that's more for webmasters too, isn't there?
Absolutely. There's one called Webmaster Tools. Webmaster Tools can do pretty much the same thing as analytics, but there's a few other features that it has. For example, it will tell you where all of your backlinks are coming from. It will tell you where you have broken links on your website. And a lot of other things. Both of these programs, Analytics and Webmaster Tools, they're free. Anybody can actually use them, but you need to be able to set them up on your website. Another big thing that people ask about is bounce rate. What on earth is a bounce rate? Bounce rate simply means somebody lands on your website from whatever source, they look at it and think, nah, this isn't for me, and they leave. So they kind of bounce on your website and then they're gone.
Okay, so again, that's something that really needs to be addressed. I suppose the more targeted your traffic is, the more likely people are to find their search useful and to stay on your website.
Absolutely. If your bounce rate is very, very high, it means that people that are landing on your website are not finding what they're looking for. So your website to them is not relevant. So then, as the website owner or the webmaster, you need to work out why.
Right. Well, you mentioned also before, in regards to the Webmaster Tools, that it shows you your backlinks. So that's obviously another term that people hear a lot.
Yes.
What can you give us a bit of an outline of backlinks, because it's quite a controversial sort of area.
Yes, a backlink is simply a link from another website pointing to yours. That's all a backlink is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I think there's a number of other things to cover with backlinks that we'll focus on in great detail later on. There's also, I suppose, various different terms that get thrown around in regards to the kind of tactics that SEO people use.
Yes. You may have often heard people say, oh, I use black hat tactics, or I use white hat tactics, or I use grey hat tactics. Black hat simply are SEO tactics which Google disapprove of. So, in other words, it goes against their webmaster guidelines. White hat is everything that they like, and then there's grey hat, which are somewhere in between. You use some tactics that Google don't like, but they're kind of in the grey area. So,
okay, so as far as black hat, white hat, grey hat goes, I suppose most of these kind of things are, particularly in the way of grey hat, it's mainly because Google doesn't sort of reveal their whole hand, I guess. So
yes.
So there aren't really sort of properly provided guidelines because something is perhaps a new strategy that somebody's trying.
Yes. So black hat, people who use black hat SEO tactics are people who are gaming the system.
Okay.
So they are artificially manipulating Google's way of ranking as such so that they get to the top.
Okay, so that would be one of the key things, for instance, a business would ask if they're looking for a good SEO company.
Yes.
Are you using white hat tactics? Probably is what they would want to ask.
Yes.
Probably not mention grey hat.
No, no. Of course not.
Of course, if the SEO company says we're using black hat, then
run.
Then run. Yeah,
Then run.
They're unlikely to probably admit that one though.
Just a couple more. There's something that which a lot of people aren't familiar with. It's something called robots text. A robots text simply is a little text file, and basically what that text file says to the search engines, okay, you can crawl this part of my website, but do not crawl this part, and that part. So it's kind of like a guideline for search engines.
It's not a robot writing poetry.
Absolutely not. No. The whole idea of it is so that you as the website owner are in control of what Google can look at and what it can't. Now, I've seen some of these text files go terribly wrong, whereby the text file absolutely bans all search engines from ever crawling the website. Of course, if your website is not crawled or indexed by the search engines, you'll never be found.
So, just finishing up, but how does that tangibly affect a business if they're blocked from search engines?
Well, it means a search engine cannot have a look what your website is about. It cannot categorize it, so it won't index it, which means if it's not indexed, no one will find it.
Okay, so you'll be absolutely nowhere, which is not exactly
the
desired result. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
And once again, if you have questions, you can visit our website, madscientistdigital.com. Thanks for listening.
SEO.